Hey there, I'm Jeff Elkins, and this is the Dialogue Doctor Podcast. Today in the podcast, I sit down with author Beth Biss to talk about creating an emotional flow for each of your scenes. All right, welcome to the podcast. Today, we got a great episode for you. Before I get into it, I just want to encourage you, come and join us in the community. You know, writing is a team sport. You need a group of people around you to finish your book, to bounce ideas off of you, to help you navigate the insanity of the author world, and we are here for that. So come and join us. You'll get a group of passionate and driven authors around you and a bunch of coaches that are here to help. So go to dialoguedoctor.com, click on the community button in the menu, or go to patreon.com/Jeff Elkins. And you can join us for $5 a month. Super cheap. Come and join. We'd love to have you. Okay. So today is a fun day. For the last 3 years, once a year, I have hosted a local author book fair at a bar in Baltimore. So there's this great bar called Union Craft. It's kind of an old warehouse style bar, like super raised ceilings, and they just have a lot of space. Like they got a lot of empty space for, they'll put a stage up. Sometimes they'll do concerts there, or they'll do like movies or things like that. And once a year, they let me bring in a whole bunch of tables that my wife's church graciously lets me borrow, and bring in a bunch of authors to sell books. And we do a local author book fair. And it was great. We had 22 authors today. We were there from noon to 6. It was fantastic. Met a lot of really great readers. It met a lot of great authors, too. I think part of what's really fun about author events like that one is connecting with other people in the community. You know, we connect a lot online. Like I have a lot of author friends all over the world. The Dialogue Doctor community is all over the world. It's also nice to see people face to face. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Robin Magnus, one of our dialoguers, officially launched his series at the book fair, which was awesome. The series doesn't drop till January, but he was there. He had an incredible table set up. He had fantastic giveaways, good pitches to people that came up, and he had an email newsletter that he was getting people to sign up for, and there was a prize, a raffle he was giving away for the email newsletter. He did a great job. It was very cool to sit next to him. It was really like there were three things about the event that were really exciting to me. One was Robin launching his series. He's been working on it for so long, and so it was so great to see him kind of come to this place where he was ready to like publicly announce it, which was very cool. And then the second thing I absolutely loved was I didn't have a full table. I just kind of took a corner of a table of Robin's table. And because I was really just there to hang out with everybody. I don't have a new book to sell right now, so I was just hanging, and a woman came up to the table. She looked vaguely familiar, and she came up and was like, "Hey, I'm Jeff." She's like, "Yeah, I know. I was here last year." She's like, "I bought this book, this book, this book, and this book from you." Because I had a bunch of my novels laid out on the table. She pointed at 4 of my novels. I was like, "Oh." She was like, and she pointed at Nerds. She was like, "I really loved this one." She's like, "Where is season 2?" And I was like, it was supposed to be here, but it's coming probably in March. I don't know. It's coming. And she was kind of visibly perturbed at me. I think she had come to the book fair just to get season 2 of Nerds. But then she told me the nicest thing. She said Nerds was one of her favorite books of the year, which, what an honor. Yeah, I was blown away. It really made my day. I was like, oh, thanks. I didn't know what to say. I was like, oh, thank you. And then she asked me, I had one novel on the table she hadn't written. She was like, what about that one? And of course I was like, oh, that's my weird one, which, guys, I'm the worst at selling my work. That's my weird one. Who wants to buy that? She goes, weirder than Nerds? I go, yeah, just in a different way. And she was like, huh. And then she's like, all right, well, I want season 2. And then she left. That is the worst pitch ever. I have a beautiful book. It is, I think it is wonderfully written. It's one of my best written novels. It's got a gorgeous cover. And somebody asks me, what is it? And I don't say, oh, it's a love story about two people coming of age in Baltimore. And I don't say, oh, it's about two people losing their faith and then finding it again. I don't say any of that. I go, that's my weird one. I need somebody help. I need serious intervention. Anyway, somebody needs to stop me and not let me talk to people. So yeah, that was that was number 2. And then the third thing was seeing all the other authors there. Several of them have been there every year. The 3 years we've done it, they've come every year. And they were great. And I love to see how their displays change and grow and how they grow as authors. It's very, very cool. And so, yeah, I just had a blast. It was really fun. I am so tired. As an introvert, talking to people for 6 hours is so hard. But it was awesome. And Union Craft's amazing. If you're in the Baltimore area, go check out Union Craft. Fantastic food, really amazing food, wonderful beer. And then we all just got to sit and hang. And it was just a beautiful day with books and people that love books, and I loved it. And I'm already, as we were packing up, people were like already planning the next one. They were like giving me suggestions for the next one, which is always a great thing. So anyway, it's a good day. I'm really tired, but it was a really good day. Yeah, so that's enough of my update. But that's why I was saying this. I want to encourage you. Create something local. Do something in your area. It's not hard. I literally just walked into Union Craft and said, like, hey, what if I brought some authors in here one day? And they were like, yeah, that sounds great. And for the first one, we had 5 people. I put out on Facebook, I was like, hey, who's an author who has books to sell and wants to come sell them with me? And 5 people were like, me. I was like, great. And we just set up tables together. And now we're on year 3, and it was just a really beautiful event. So I highly recommend that you come and give it a try. You know, I would love for people to come to start local author events like this. I think they're just beautiful ways to meet people, and it's not like you're constantly flooded with people. Like I was there for 6 hours. People kind of come in waves, and then you have waves where you're just hanging out with other authors, and then another wave will come through, and then you're just hanging out with authors. So it's never a steady stream, but yeah, I just highly recommend start something local. Get engaged with some other authors around you. Start working together. I meant it at the top of this episode when I said that writing is a team sport. This is not something you're supposed to do alone. We are meant to do this in community with one another. So start doing some local stuff. It's a lot of fun. And I do it once a year. I don't make any money on it. Like I don't charge anybody for the tables. Union Craft doesn't charge me for the room. It's literally just like, hey, can we come do this? It's going to be fun. And they're like, yeah, because if anything, just the authors there are going to drink beer. So they make money regardless. So yeah, anyway. Yeah, so that's my encouragement to you. All right, let's get into the episode with Beth Biss.
Okay, I've hit record and I'm with author Beth Biss. Is it Bliss or Biss?
It's Biss, no
Biss.
L's.
Okay. I keep wanting to add an L. I don't know why I do that, but yeah, Beth.
People
Beth
do
Biss.
that too.
Yeah. Beth, thanks for doing this with me. I
Sure
appreciate
thing.
it. You sent me a lovely piece. I'm really excited to talk about it. Talk to us a little bit before we get going about where you are in your author journey.
I consider myself a baby author. I have published 1 book. I'm getting ready to publish a second book. Book 2 will come on October 1st. I'm excited about that. So what we're reading now is what I've submitted for my 3rd book.
Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah.
All 3 books have the same characters? Is it a series?
It's a series of interconnected standalones.
Oh,
So
nice.
book 1 follows Sonia. Book
Okay.
2 follows Danny. Book 3, which we're talking about, follows Lynn. So the characters show up, but they're very different stories. The setting is similar, but not the same. So
Okay.
I was drawing that out as a way to connect my stories without having them be an actual traditional trilogy.
I love it. Are these romance, drama? How would you classify them?
Women's fiction that
Okay.
follows friendships, and specifically about friendships, and about women who live with an illness.
Okay.
You may have picked up on that.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm gonna apologize for my voice in advance. I was at a my wife held a carnival last night, so I was stationed at a moon bounce and I was yelling a lot of get ready, get set, go. So my voice is a little, if I go out, I can feel it. So if my voice goes out, just excuse me, give me a second. I'll come back, I
Right.
promise. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen.
Mhm.
As we talk about this today, how can I most help you? What is there a question you've got standing out, or is there something that I can focus on with you as we talk through this that's most going to empower you moving forward?
I'm so this first scene is just sort of a setup as to her illness, how she's dealing with her illness.
Hmm.
And the second scene you're looking at is her interaction with her grandfather, which is really a setup for a lot more important events. So I'm just wondering, I wasn't quite sure how to handle the second scene, because there are other people there,
Hmm.
and yet, I mean, they're family, so they're important to her, but they're not important in this scene. And
Gotcha.
I'm not sure, do I need to address them more, or I, I know the brother will play a bigger role later, and I'm just
Hmm.
worried that I haven't used him enough in this scene, and yet, so I'm like all confused.
Okay.
Do I need to put more in? And I'm worried that that's gonna make it too big and confusing. And so the focus really is Lynn, her grandfather, and the things that she learns in the garden. And so, yeah, I'm just worried that I'm not doing a good enough setup job for the
Okay.
family later, because the brother does play a role. And so
Okay.
I'm wondering, I can't give you the whole book, but
No, no, that's
you,
perfect. Yeah, that's a great place to start.
okay.
Yeah. What are you hoping the feel of when we look at this opening scene six? What are you hoping the feel of this moment with her illness is going to feel like to the reader? How do you want the reader to experience this?
Okay. So for Lynn, if you know anything about the Enneagram, she's a three.
Hmm.
So she wants to prove herself. She has things to do.
Hmm. You write a
So
three
her
really well here. It's you
Okay,
do a
good.
good job with it.
Because her illness is just something that's in the way. She
Okay.
wants to keep moving forward. And she really thinks that from what she was told that she didn't really listen to is I just take my medicine and it's cool. Great.
Hmm.
And so this scene is trying to set up how she thinks she's doing what she's supposed to be doing, is still struggling,
Still not working.
and
Okay.
but really thinks I'm just gonna keep moving forward. It's gonna be fine. It's
Okay.
gonna be fine because I have a plan.
Okay. Are we building to a moment of crisis with the disease, or does she successfully kind of put it to the side? How does it work?
Well, yes, there will be a crisis in,
Okay.
Act Four. There'll be a big crisis.
Great. Okay. Um, is this the first time we're seeing her manage the disease?
Um, this is the first time she is really that we're seeing her taking the medicine and thinking about how that makes her feel.
Okay.
She went and got diagnosed in a previous scene.
Okay.
Um, I showed her the previous book, Feeling Ill.
Gotcha.
So I've showed her being ill before. Whether that really made really caught people's attention, I don't know, because
Gotcha.
she wasn't the focus of the book.
Okay.
She was just tired and disappeared. That
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this story, it's about her and how she's living with this illness that she's just found out she has. I mean,
Okay.
and how she doesn't talk about it at first. Does
Okay.
She's with her family in scene seven and doesn't mention it
Okay.
because she thinks she's going to manage it.
Gotcha. Okay. That's great. Um, so there's two, as we talk through, we'll focus on the big crowd scene when we get to scene seven.
Okay,
And and how to establish that chorus of people
okay,
in a way that doesn't draw attention to them, but also allows the reader to have kind of space and time of where they're at so they can
okay,
visualize where they are. The other thing I really want to work with you on today is Lynn's experience. I'd like to show you some ways to increase the emotionality
Okay.
of what's happening. Especially in that second scene, Lynn is very she's very internal at times, which is great. I think very appropriate for the character you're writing. And when we have that internal character, we really want to be bringing the reader in on their emotional journey on every step. So just
Okay.
creating that logical emotional path. It's a little like your character is singing a song with your reader, that they're like singing along together. And sometimes the emotion your character's feeling is going to harmonize with the emotion your reader's feeling, so that they're not always singing in unison. Sometimes the reader feels something based on the character's feelings.
Mhm.
Sometimes the reader's just going to feel the same thing. So when the character's sad, the reader's sad. What's important about that is when you're writing in a third person close POV like this, is that the character needs to keep singing, because we don't want the reader filling in any parts of the song on their own. So we want the character to keep that melody going, so
Okay.
the reader doesn't have to necessarily imagine. And it's very tricky to do and
Mhm.
not just tell the reader all the time how the character feels. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yes.
So there are a couple places, especially in scene 7, where I was like, I'm losing the melody here. I need to get that melody back in. Um, is there anything else you want to focus on today?
No, that'll be great.
Okay, perfect. Um, so you start off scene 6 with this summary
Mhm.
of what she's been doing with her illness. You talk about Lynn had only done stretching on the floor the first week. She waited for medicine to kick in. Lynn still disliked taking Motrin. And then you get into her doing martial arts, Aikido, to try and, well, stretching, but with her Aikido mat and gear, and she goes Akata to try to
Mhm.
get her to try to work through her pain and dizziness a little bit. Um, so I love the scene of her working through things. I think it's fantastic. As you've probably heard me say before, we need to get nitty gritty into the scene for the reader to actually experience the feeling. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this opening paragraph, these opening 2 paragraphs, they aren't doing anything emotionally. They're just informing us of what's happened. It's just like catch up information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I want you to do one of two things. I either want you to cut them and just get rid of them, because they're
Mhm.
not what matters to the reader is the emotional journey, not necessarily the practical, logical one, unless
Mhm.
it's important, unless this is important information we need to know.
Okay.
If it's important information we need to know, I want you to move it after you start the action. So I want you to take these 2 paragraphs and I want you to drop them down after the pop, because
Mhm.
this is the start of our zooming into her moment. Lynn's
Mhm.
gaze drifted to the Buddha sitting serenely on the shelf. The smooth green stone seemed to glow in the afternoon light and filter through the window. We are like present with her in
Mhm.
that moment. I love the emotion you're kicking off here with this idea that what she's really seeking is control, and really seeking that sense of self, and that
Mhm.
sense of like having that ability to live in peace with herself. I think you set it up beautifully in these 2 opening sentences. And then her declaration, today will be different, she whispered. The medicine will work and I will honor the promise I made. Beautiful comparison here between her and the statue, and then the kind of Buddhist thought. It's all great. This is the kickoff of our emotional journey in this scene. So if we need to keep the summary because the information's important, kick off the emotional journey and then take a beat and give us the summary, and then come back to the emotional journey. That way the reader is prepped emotionally, and they're like, okay, we're going somewhere here. And then you can kind of have a little bit of an aside and then come back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
How does that feel?
That makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, and whenever possible, we want to lead with the emotion. Um, you use her name here a lot in the paragraph.
I do.
Is there a reason?
No, it's just what I was doing.
Okay, I didn't want to. I never want to assume that, like, I'm going to take something out and there's a reason for it. I think it's going to read a lot smoother because this is a scene where she's alone
Mm,
and she's really just interacting with her own body. Like you do, we'll talk about this more in a second, but you do a really great job here of having a character by themselves, but creating a sense of dialogue and that she's interacting with her pain and interacting with her disease. I think it's really, really well done, Beth. It's really nice. Um, I would informalize it a little bit though by
okay.
using her pronoun instead of her name. Um, there's a weird thing that names do. When we say someone's name, we say people's names a lot less than we think we do. Like if you chart during the day how often you say somebody's name, it's going to be much less than you think you actually say people's names. I think I can go a whole day without saying my wife's name, even though we talk constantly. I
Mm,
rarely say Wendy, right? Like I call her nicknames, or
mhm,
we don't. Sometimes I won't even say a name at all, right? Like I'll just. And there's something about, so when we use a name, it brings a formality to
mm.
something and an emphasis to something. Like we use a name. So you'll probably feel it right here when I say Beth. Try not to use Lynn's name so much. Can you hear when I say Beth? Try not to. It brings this like weight to what you're saying. So
Okay.
it's doing that in your paragraphs right now. It's bringing this. That's why I asked, was it intentional? Because there are times to do this where you really want to hammer home kind of poetically what Lynn's feeling. Here though, I think I would go more informal because it is that dialogue scene. So
Okay.
you'll see I pulled her name out of the rest of the paragraph.
Yeah.
It just kept she.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing I want you to do, this is one of those places where I was talking about like, hey, keep the melody going.
Mm,
So she went through her first kata. Her muscles protested after babying them for so long. That is a fantastic, like, if we're thinking character exchanges of like Lynn says something, her disease says something. This is her disease speaking, right? Her muscles protested after babying them for so long. And then your next line is she started the first kata again, this time with more intensity and focus. How does it feel when her muscles protest? Give me an inner thought or a an internal reflection from her here.
okay.
Or even just tell me like how she's feeling because
Mm,
we want that exchange from her. Her muscles do this, she says this. Does that make sense? That
yes.
like trigger response of like her, and what you're doing there is bringing us on her emotional journey because as somebody who's hasn't ever had a um prolonged illness, right? Like I've been sick before, but I've been fortunate not to suffer from a prolonged illness. I don't know how this feels. So part of my journey as a reader is coming to understand what Lynn is feeling. So I want that conversation between her and her body. You do it here beautifully. She started her first comment again, the first time with more intensity and focus. As she moved her body, warmed up, she felt the power and strength that this ancient practice promised. She was ready to press herself forward further. That last line gives me her emotional state. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the next paragraph, you do it really well. She starts the kata. That's the action. Her body speaks. She moved her body. She felt power and strength, right? Her body's speaking. And then you give me the response, her emotional response. And we have kind of a complete exchange here between her and her body. How does that feel to you? Does that feel okay? Any way you'd want to push back on that?
No, I understand. I understand that she is alone in the scene, but there is that back
Hmm.
and forth I need to maintain. Yeah.
And really completing that picture with the back and forth, especially in emotional turns. So this is an emotional turn here where she's moving to feeling more secure, but we're missing the emotional turn here where she's moving to feeling unsettled. So we want
Okay.
that melody to go. So you tell me she's unsettled and then she starts again. This emotional turn will have more weight, knowing that this one was, yeah. Um, you start doing this too in these inner thoughts. Now, there's no right way to handle inner thoughts. There's no like, this is the way you need to do it or not do it.
Mhm.
Some people are going to put them in italics. Some people are going to, right now, you're keeping them all on the same line. She reached over the edge of the mat and grabbed her Joe. It's been too long, old friend. So this it's been too long, old friend is actually like something her brain is saying, which is different than the third person close. She was ready to press herself forward. All right, we've got a different voice there. I would recommend breaking this out into its own line.
Okay.
And the reason I would recommend now, again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just your style and what you like. The reason this is my preference is because it sets it out as its own voice in the story. So
Okay.
if you put it down on its own line, it separates it from that third person close voice you normally have.
Okay.
At the same time, this is your third book. So your readers are going to come accustomed to how you write. And this
Well,
is
that's my problem. I have
yeah.
not done one thing.
Okay.
I've been playing with things. I read a book. I'm like, oh, I like how they did that, and I play with it some. So I'm not yet consistent. I'm goofing around here.
I know. I think it's great. I love it. Um, that gives you a lot more freedom. I love that. It gives you freedom to like mess with things and move things around.
And
Yeah.
part of my reason for thinking I was okay with playing with that a little bit. I mean, it's not a big glaring thing. It's three different characters
Yeah.
who are very different people, and so I thought it'll be okay if I do something a little different. But
Absolutely.
this is a different person. If I did something different with the same person, that would be more obvious. I think
Yeah.
could be wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah. So I was like, I want to play with this thing I read in a book and try this. So
I love that.
I'm
Yeah.
just playing around.
Yeah. I think it's great. Well, so you have the freedom here to play with it if you want to. I like for so threes on the Enneagram are those performers. They like to achieve and they really like to
Mhm.
be told they're doing well, right? Like a
Yeah.
three is I was listening to some comedians talk a couple months ago, and they were both discussing how they're three. Well, one of them was trying to help the other one understand his Enneagram number, and she told him, she said, "Do you feel really good when somebody tells you good boy?" And he's like, I do. I love to be told that I'm a good boy. And she's like, all right, you're 30. Because there's this like need to find that like achievement.
Mhm.
But at the same time, with an internal three, somebody who's a likes to achieve, likes to succeed, and has that like internal monologue running, that internal monologue is often like a conversation going with them. And I think you're doing that really well here with Beth, and that there's this self-talk happening with her all the time, where she's constantly talking to herself about how she's doing or how she's interpreting the world. Um, and because it's that self-talk, I like it on its own line. Again, there's no right or wrong here. It's just a style thing. And I like how it keeps this moving. She reached over the edge of the mat and grabbed her Joe. It's been too long, oh friend. She moves seamlessly into the second kata, right? Like I like that kind of, but total preference. It's yeah. Um, again, here I want that this you had given me this line down here. The medication allowed me to return to normal. It's a little formal in a voice.
Okay.
So then these are Beth, these are like minute. I'm being nitpicky. This is what happens when you give me something good is I get really nitpicky about it. Um, so I'm gonna move this up here to get that response again that
Okay.
tells us how she should emotionally be feeling. She
Mhm.
moved seamlessly in the next cotty. Her body felt warm and strong. The medication was working. And then that self-talk line, I knew it wasn't anything serious. right? Can you
Mhm.
start to feel how like dropping that on its own line, giving me the like trigger response really starts to put her in that conversation with her body.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does.
Yeah. And then when you get to the climax and things fall apart, this is going to be really a great like you're setting up for yourself here something you can really pay off emotionally because you could use that self-talk but modulate it to desperation. Does that
Okay.
make sense? So her body did this thing. No, 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 not right now. Her body did this thing. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. Her body did this thing. No, not in this way. And then her body does this thing. So you can use this self-talk to build that emotion when you need it later. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think create a really powerful scene where she's having that like internal conversation about the state of things, to
Okay.
bring the reader on in that journey. Have you already written that scene?
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
I've really this scene I worried about um because it felt so personal.
Yeah.
Um a- and in some ways it is personal. I mean, I'm not Lynn, but I have this disease.
Hmm.
So so I'm trying to put into words.
Oh, that's hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you also a
Uh,
three on the Enneagram?
no.
Okay. So not exactly Lynn, which is good.
No, I'm not
Okay.
exactly. And I've never done
Oh,
keto.
okay.
I'm basing that on what some of what my son has done and what he anyway. So yeah, it's this weird mixture of things I'm definitely not, things I
Oh,
definitely am, and putting them together. And so it just it feels weird
yeah.
because it's not me, but it is me. That's so weird.
So as somebody who's written novels about personal experience that were difficult, um, do you have a plan to emotionally care for yourself while you write this thing?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good, good. As long as you have some way to be like, I'm going to take care of myself in this way as I write it, just make sure that you're caring for because the novels can get tough, like especially when we're writing about things that we've experienced. There's a sense in which you relive them a little bit.
Mhm.
So please make sure you have a plan.
Okay.
Take care for yourself so it doesn't get too intense emotionally without you being able to escape a little bit.
I think so. That's why it's also been hard to write this one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And at the same time, I think novels we write that stem from our own personal experience become uh much more poignant for readers, much more emotionally engaging. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I love one of my favorite authors is Friedrich Bachman, talk about him all the time. And what as a community, we just studied the book My Friends. I love a ton of Friedrich Bachman novels. None of them have ever made me cry like My Friends. I just weep when I read that book. And part of the reason I cry when I read it is because um, I think one of the other dialogue or one of the members of the community told me that they were listening to an interview with him where he said that this is really about him watching his wife love art. And you can feel it. You can feel the personal experience coming through in these conversations he's having about these characters. And I think it just makes it more emotionally real in some way. So I'm excited for you and I'm worried for you. So here's another one again where I want that like her her body speaking,
Mhm.
the impact of it, and then the emotional response. So here, unlike the two up here where you had her body speaking the impact of it, but no emotional response, here you have her body speaking and then you have the emotional response, but you don't give me the impact of it.
Okay.
So as she went through the moves of the third kata, some dizziness clouded her thinking. Angrily, she pushed through, snapping out the Joe from her body and back into place. I want the response to this, right? So dizziness clouded some of her thinking. Does she stumble? Does she have to stop? Does
Mhm.
she lose her place? What what is her response to the trigger? Does that make
Okay.
sense? So if the body speaks, there's a response, and then you beautifully have the emotional return here.
Because I'm wanting to have her. I don't want this to be a fight scene. I don't want to describe what the keto is like. I'm not.
No, yeah,
That's
yeah,
not what
yeah,
the point is. So, and
yeah,
I want her to. I want the reader to say, "Oh, okay. So she had a little problem. Oh, she's okay. Oh, she's not okay." I mean, it can happen that quickly.
yeah.
But I don't want to. So I don't want to drag out. But I don't want to feel like it's this sudden weird instantaneous thing. I mean, it's finding the right balance between she's doing something and things change for her. And
Yeah.
so I worried, was I not describing enough? Was I not?
No, I don't want you to describe more. I don't want,
Okay,
I think you are making the most important thing the most important thing in this scene,
okay,
which is that emotional journey she's having with her physicality.
okay,
So, and just to like, and I like how you're designating it with katas, right? So you start off serene with the Buddhist, with the moment with the Buddhist statue, which is
mm-hmm,
great. And because you're setting up the hope for the scene, right? She wants to feel this way.
mm-hmm,
You have the first kata, right, which kind of falls apart, and we feel her frustration. You have the second kata where she starts to feel strong, and we feel her like feeling a victory. But then the third kata is this return to failure,
okay.
failure in as she would see it, in quote. Not that I think she's failing, but as she would see it, failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
And so, and then you have the beautiful thought, the medication was supposed to fix this. Right? So you've got
mm-hmm,
this like, I think you're focusing on the right thing, the emotional drive of the piece.
okay,
So when I say describe here, what's the impact of this? I don't want to know more about Akita. I want to know how this dizziness impacts her inability to do things, right?
okay.
Does she have to stop? Does she forget where she is?
Mm-hmm,
And then angrily she pushes through. I think that's like, but I just want to affirm you. I think your descriptions here are great. I don't need more. I think they're really
okay.
good. Um, yeah, this is a little formal again. I'm betrayed by my body again, but it could
Mm-hmm.
also just be that you have a formal voice for her. Um, how formal is her voice, do you think?
Well, I've had her mostly be so like with people she doesn't know, she has very short sentences.
Yeah.
And the more she gets to know someone, the more she's willing to share. I have a sense that she is a lot more formal about things. I mean, so this is the formality passed down through her grandparents and parents and this heritage
Okay.
of being respectful and formal about things. So that she does have this quality to her of wanting to be more formal.
Okay. I,
Um,
yeah, I think that's great. I would keep it then. Um, let's talk for a minute about what makes this a formal sentence and what, so that you know as you're moving forward, like, okay, this is what makes that feel formal and why it wouldn't. I would say as she becomes in distress, one of the ways you can modulate her voice to show that distress is to remove the formality. Formality requires a specific, not a specific, but a certain level of control over your peace of mind, and formality is a demonstration of that control. Does that make sense?
mm,
It's like I can be formal because I have the resources to do so. Whether it's like
okay.
wearing formal dress, like I can dress in a tuxedo because I have the resources to buy a tuxedo, or
Mhm.
formal speech. I can speak in this formal manner because I have the internal resources to do so.
Mhm. This is
In
probably a place that I shouldn't have her be formal. She is losing her control on things.
Okay, then we may want to pull it
S-
back here. And it just
Yeah,
depends
so
though. There's a like, if you're not a total breakdown here and you want to show
mm,
her still trying to keep control, you may want to keep it. Does that make
okay.
sense? Like it's
I
totally
think
up to you though.
yeah, I have to decide how I wanna do that. Because yeah, I have to decide. I have to because I it
Yeah.
just suddenly occurred to me. Maybe I should just say just betrayed again.
Yeah. And
There's
so
a
and
lot of
yeah, you're hitting the great difference between informal and formal there. The formal uses every word in
mm-mm,
the proper construction of a sentence. We have the noun there.
mm-mm,
Betrayed, we have the verb by my body again. Right? Like
mm-mm,
so you've got all the words in the sentence there sprayed out. And you see how that's like a form of resource allocation. I have the
Mhm,
emotional stability to spell out all of the words in the sentence.
mhm,
Where,
mhm,
like you just said, the way to make this informal is like, not again. We've cut the subject, we've
mhm,
cut the verb, right? Like we're just giving the last, or betrayed again is just
mhm,
the body, or just betrayal, right? Is just the like verb. So to make it
mhm,
more informal, we're going to lose those words to like pull it together. And I don't
mhm.
know, you're right. It is, waves of color blossomed in her vision. She stopped. She crumpled to the mat. Heat feeling her chest. By the way, this paragraph has all of the things I want you to have in the body, the physical response. She could feel the smooth surface of the Joe on her hands, physical response, and then the emotional return. It's all perfect, perfect paragraph for this like give and take between herself and her body. And
Okay.
then you're dropping that inner thought.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I don't know, but I think especially with an Enneagram 3 personality, using that formality of her voice to show her desire to achieve and control, I think is a great technique. I don't know. Again, there's no right though. There's just what you like. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel
I
about that?
just
Yeah.
I just have to decide. I have to really decide. Because she's clearly had her pots blossoming upon
Hmm.
her and
Yeah.
taking her ability away.
Yeah.
And when that happens, full sentences are not always possible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have her stating that because she is a more forward person.
Hmm.
But maybe in this moment when she's crumpled to the mat, it's not the moment for her to have that full sentence.
Yeah.
But later on, when she talks about "I will return to the mat," I will.
Yes. Yes.
That's probably the immediate reaction. I should probably have not be as a formal, complete thought,
Yeah. I love
but
it.
just a reaction.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
And I love that you have this tool with this character voice where you can really start to portray emotion in a neat way. I think it's really great. Here you had all of these in a single paragraph,
mm,
and you can see I'm busting them out like I did before to make it feel more like dialogue. And again, we have
okay.
the she pulled herself to face the Buddha. We have and I love that you're bookending this. It's a great bookended scene where you're starting and ending in the same place. Pulled herself to face the Buddha sitting directly, the jade stowed light. Again, beautiful bookend here. She would not not let Potts steal this from her. Another like great emotional moment. So you've got the full emotionality here. I'm gonna pop this dialogue out, even though grammatically this should all be one paragraph. I'm gonna pop this dialogue out because to make it feel like she's speaking to herself.
Okay.
I'll find a way, she declared to the sounding figure, I will manage this like everything else. And then I'm gonna pop this out on its own line to like make it the response of the Buddha. The Buddha's unchanging expression seemed to approve of her determination. It's great. Yeah. Um, but I want that sense of exchange
Okay.
between them. All right, before we move on to the next scene, anything you want to talk about in scene 6 that I can help you with?
No, I think that covers a lot.
Okay. You've done a beautiful job with this. Writing a scene where a character's alone and dealing with themselves is very difficult to keep moving. You focused on the emotion as opposed to the details around Aikido or even the details around what Potts does to somebody. Like you could see this scene written differently where it was very educational and very boring. So you've done you've done a great job focusing on what's most important. It's a really solid scene.
Thank you.
Okay, scene 7. Are we coming in? Is this actually the first of this scene, or is there a little more before we get here?
That's how I started.
Okay, great.
So I don't have anything before it.
So we've got this large room where she has all of her family there. And when you imagine this, how many people are present?
Five other people. So she walks in, there's six total.
Okay. And loud atmosphere, soft atmosphere, what's the atmosphere like?
Um, a softer atmosphere.
Okay.
They
So,
don't speak loudly.
okay. They're already eating
They're
when
already
she
eating.
enters. Okay.
Hmm.
So Lynn has arrived at her grandparents' house after everyone else. The sun is low in the sky, and the coolness of the air felt a refreshing summer in Philadelphia. She sighed uh, to see her brothers and her parents' cars on the street, but the last dinner to Odessa's eyes. Sorry, I'm going to speed up a little bit. This is a great like entrance emotional. Again, with these paragraphs of description, you're setting an emotional tone. So there's a nice emotional tone here, and that it's pretty still. It feels like the sun's coming down. You've got it being hot, which creates a specific amount of tension, and then you have a little bit of reluctance here, which is good. Uh, it speaks to us like, hey, this isn't going to be like a dynamic, like powerful argument scene,
Hmm.
but there is some tension here. It just warns the reader, like, get ready a little bit. The meal had just begun with platters covered. Um, And so you describe the food. Lynn's mouth watered at the sight of the familiar dish. Also great, creates some expectancy of her. Her brother Keon was reaching for a shiitake mushroom that was floating in the glossy broth. When Lynn entered the room, quiet on her feet, everyone paused for a moment. No one looked at her or asked sharp questions, but Lynn's breath caught in her chest just the same. And then you come down here, she pulled a chair out and she used her chopsticks. Now, I don't think we describe Keon anymore. Is that the only place he comes up?
That's true.
Okay. So there's a couple things I want you to do here because what you said your goals were emphasize Keon a little bit more.
Hmm.
Am I saying his name correctly?
Yeah, Gion. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. We want to emphasize a little bit more so he pops because he's going to come back later. And then we also want to you're doing a good job of giving me a sense of place, but not necessarily of people, and specifically of how she feels about these people, right? Because I don't necessarily care. Her father had, green hair and blue eyes and was like in a purple robe. I don't care about that. What I care about is how does she feel about this group of people? What
Okay.
is the emotional impact her family has on her?
Hmm.
So what I'd have here is I would add a paragraph here, and I would probably add two sentences of her looking around the room and telling us what seeing all of these people eating, what impact that has on her emotionally.
Okay.
How does that feel?
That feels appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to have him be there, but I didn't want to be the focus.
Mhm.
Wasn't sure how well I was doing with that.
Yeah. And so the same way you do here with her seeing the food and the food reminding her of her childhood, that's what I want a moment here with her family.
Okay.
I want the same, like, how does this make her? How does this shape her emotionally?
Hmm.
Because how she feels about the family is how we're going to feel about the family. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
is she nervous around them? Are they consistently disapproving of her and she's worried what somebody might say? That'll set up the meeting later when she finds approval, right? Or
Mhm.
um, is this a place that she regrets not being at more often and they are always there, but she's never there, right? Like, or are these people that she feels like she doesn't even really know and she's there out of obligation, right? Can you see how, like, all of this setting of who the family is
Mhm.
interprets the next conversation she has?
Yeah, yes.
And like sets it up a little bit stronger for
Mm.
what's going
Yeah.
on. Then I want her to say something to Guillaume. I want them to have a moment. I
Hmm.
want him to nod to her and she can nod back and then tell me give me a couple interesting facts about Guillaume.
Okay.
So that'll set him apart rather than just his name. Here,
Hmm.
buried in a paragraph, about reaching a mushroom, we're not gonna remember that. But what's gonna pop him out is if you turn the camera of the reader's imagination on him for a minute and let them have a quick interaction. Doesn't even need to be verbal, can be nonverbal and silent. But they just need to acknowledge each other, and then I need a couple sentences describing her relationship with him.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, all of that feel okay? Any questions or like pushback on any of that?
No, that feels good.
Okay. And I think you can do it. Like, I don't think you need to add a ton. I think You can probably do all of that in 6 sentences, like 2, 3 sentence paragraphs, and you're good to
Okay.
go. Yeah. So here we get into the conversation with how do you say his role?
Oji-san.
Oji-san. Okay, so here we get into the conversation with Oji-san. Um, I think you do a very good job of setting them apart. I don't. It's very clear that the two of them are talking as the room continues to speak, and I don't necessarily need more of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I love how you use the family here as a chorus. Lynn felt the family pause to hear how she would answer.
Mm.
Great use of the family as a chorus vehicle. Um, this is really good. Like they go back and forth, and then at some point here, doesn't he walk out with her?
Yes.
Yeah. So I like how you had mentioned when we were talking about what you wanted from this, is it okay to pull this conversation aside? You're doing a great job pulling this conversation aside. You're keeping the family present. I'm living in the moment. I like this contrast here. Lynn felt a rush of Oji-san's praise. Danny would have whooped for joy, and Sonia would have blushed and stammered. Lynn accepted his words quietly and nodded. It's a great like contrast between your other characters to show how she's different. I think it's really good. Here, when they pull off into a more personal conversation, we lose her perspective a little bit, right? All through the first part of the scene, you're giving me fantastic perspective, how she sees the world, how she feels about things. And here we start to lose it. So the action that had paused Oji-san's words picked up again. Oop, sorry. What just happened? There we go. Everyone taking the food they wanted and talking happily about their day. Oji-san ate in silence. Again, great contrast between the two of them. How does she feel about him eating in silence? What is that doing to her? Right? Does it make her tense? She's waiting for, she was tense, not sure if she should speak or what to say. Right? She ate in silence as well, mimicking his demeanor, or does she like, scoping him out of the side of her eye, she decided to laugh and talk happily with the rest of the family for this dinner? Like, how does she respond to this? What's her perspective on it? Then we end dinner and we're moving out to the garden, which is great. So to be invited, you give me this paragraph here that talks about what a big deal it is. But again, I need her reaction, her physical reaction to what's happening. So I want to show you the new paintings, right? Does her chest flutter with nervousness? Does her mind race with what this means? Does her jaw clench? Nervous about what he's going to say. Why is she being called to the principal's office? Like, what does this feel like for her? Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. Yes.
And part of what makes this hard, Beth, is you did such a great job giving me her internal and in scene 6. Now that we have people around, I have to stay as intimately engaged with her. I can't lose the intimacy with her now
Right.
that she has other people to play off of. Um, yeah. Okay, any questions about that before we move into their conversation?
No.
Okay, perfect. This conversation is great. You'll notice I had very few notes. The back and forth is really, really good. Um, again, I'm taking your internal thought. I don't have time for this now. And I'm popping it down on its own line. So as her grandfather paused to collect spent flowers, brushed away fallen leaves, your descriptions are so good, and admired his handiwork, Lynn felt the pressure build between her shoulder blades. I don't have time for this now. I'm dropping it down so that it feels like she's speaking to the world. Lynn walked to the bench and sat beneath the weeping cherry. Right, like I just want to stand that out. Here, great perspective. Um, her grandfather joined her on the bench and without looking at her said, "Your business is doing well." Lynn's ears perked up at his words. We've got the like physical body language. This statement said in the garden carried more weight than they would have spoken anywhere else. Here, her grandfather's garden, a little bubbly Japanese ceremony. No words were ever spoken lightly. Again, really appropriate to like give her this strength. this intensity of the moment. Give her that inner dialogue. The thing is, she never speaks. He then says, there are things about your family you should know. You may want to give her a verbal response here.
Okay.
Um, just because he's moving the conversation on to a new topic.
Hmm.
So we want her to speak to kind of close out this segment. Does that
Okay.
make sense? So I might give her a response here in between these two, if you can transition it with a response about the family,
And I can.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I've just thought about it. Okay.
Yeah. And so give her a verbal response about the family, and then he can say there are things about your family you should know. It's going to make this feel much smoother segment transition.
Okay.
I like you've got a solid, like the segment is changing. We're talking about something else. You've got a really solid follow-up reflection here, which is good. You're putting it at the right place, not to break up the dialogue. All of that's great. Um, he starts on this monologue,
Hmm.
right? And it's this 3 paragraph monologue here. Originally, you had it all in 1 paragraph where he's telling this story. As the reader, whenever we get a paragraph, we're like, oh, I'm getting information, right? And we'll digest the logical information of it, but what we might be missing is the emotional journey. It's that melody that's singing in the background that we need to keep hearing. So, what I want you to do, because you're using that inner thought like its own voice, what I want you to do here is use that to give Lynn an internal response to everything he's saying. Because
Okay.
I get the feeling from that she's not going to respond verbally to Oji-san here. That her role is to sit and listen.
Hmm.
But you've got this really powerful tool where she's giving you this inner thought. So go ahead and put it in. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Because she's still physically sitting and listening, but she can have that emotional reflection that lets us as the reader know how to feel about this story.
Okay.
Um, you can break it wherever you want. I broke it at these places because it seemed like natural kind of breath marks in his. I imagine if he was giving a monologue, this is where he would pause to breathe, right? Like what
Okay.
work and dedication required. Now I will tell you about before
Hmm.
inner thought, right? How does she feel about there's a little bit of foreboding here in the way he's telling this story. How does that foreboding make her feel?
Hmm.
Before we came to Philadelphia, the whole family lived in San Francisco. Goes on, it was taken away from us because of our ancestors. Expression from her, internal or external. What's going on? External means like body language. She clenched her fists.
Hmm.
She clenched her jaw, preparing for the worst. Internal would be that like internal thought. Then he talks about the internment camp. I lived in an internment camp for 3 years. The community we had there, it was all gone. Now you do it here. You bring it in. Lynn could hardly breathe. You give me an inner thought. This was something she hadn't heard before. As anger began to rise in her chest, her grandfather turned toward her. Well, it wasn't enough. We deserved much worse, right? Like there's a turn here. You then give it to me again. But can you see how here, when he's setting up the story, we're missing that melody? And then here you bring the song back.
Okay.
I want the song all the way through to
Okay.
keep us in that emotional build. Um, yeah. And then here, give me another comment to accentuate the big reveal. Because he gives us this big reveal
Hmm.
about his feelings about the internment camp, and it's not what she expects at all.
Hmm.
And then he says this line: the Mitsubishi made cigarettes and sold them to China. So give me a comment here that like preps us for this big reveal, so
Hmm.
that when he says this, it's this like oh type moment. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm feeling like the next sentence she says, he says, is really the big one.
I think they're
Um,
a 1-2 punch.
okay, yeah,
I think there's a like, this is the reason, and then he takes it even worse.
yeah,
Right?
hmm.
Like, so I want, and you build here in between punch one and punch two, you have a build that like makes punch two bigger. I want to
Hmm.
build before
Okay,
punch one too, so that it like starts
okay.
to stack on each other.
Hmm. Hmm.
A lot of times in a scene when we want to create the emotionality, we need to stack like this, where we have like, so if you want a big pop at the end of a scene like this, a lot of times it's like, okay, I'm going to make that moment really big. And then we don't think about the moments that lead into it. But the bigger we can make the moments that lead into it, the bigger this one feels because the emotions start to stack on top of each other until the last one becomes this like explosion. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Oh, I think you froze. Do you lose me?
did
I can still hear you. Are you
okay.
there, Beth?
My internet connection is unstable.
Oh no. Okay, you're
Are
back.
you okay?
Okay.
It said my connection is unstable. Sorry.
No, you're good. Did you get
Not
what I
that I could do
was,
anything about
yeah, did you get what I was saying about stacking?
it. You started, or yes, you started talking about stacking. So,
Okay. So let me just finish that thought for you because I think it's going to be important for her and her external feelings,
okay.
and deal with her disease. So when you have a scene and you want a big reveal or a big emotional pop at the end of the scene, a lot of times as authors we'll focus on the ending and we'll make the ending really strong. What we miss is that we need to make the emotionality building up to the ending also strong and start stacking those emotions on top of each other because the it's the like climbing up the roller coaster hill and then the drop down. The drop down is that big thing, but what makes the drop down exciting is the click, 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 click up to the top. And that's that stacking I'm talking about. So all the way through here, what we're doing is we're stacking these emotions with her inner thoughts. And then you
Mm,
get the first big punch here, and then the final kind of haymaker, big punch here. So go ahead and stack this a little bit bigger so we get to the right to the top, click, and then we're going to go down. Does that make
okay.
sense?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So this is all of this was great. I was just spacing you out a little bit differently, but it's not
Yeah.
necessary. I was just trying to accentuate exchanges. But here's another place where I want a little bit more emotionality around what's
Mhm.
going on. Oji-san, may I ask you a question? That phrase can be heard in like 15 different ways, right? Dispassionately, apathetically, or near tears, with her heart in her throat, right? Like, or frustrated that she still has to has to sit here, right? But you can see how like I can interpret this line in multiple ways. Whenever we have a line like that that can go in a lot of different directions, go ahead and give
Mhm.
it a descriptor to let us know how we should be hearing it.
Okay.
Only trust your reader so far. Sometimes you gotta tell your reader, like, no, this is this way. Um, and then here's another place where I want to know her internal, and how she's thinking about it. And then you wrap the scene really nicely. It's got a nice cadence to it. Um, okay, Beth, any other questions about that? Oh, I think I might have lost you again.
Wait,
Are you there?
stacking.
Okay, there you go.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You're totally fine. So you have a really nice wrap here at the end, is what I was saying. You do a really great job. Kind of bringing the emotional, giving us like an emotional cadence to the end of the song they're singing together. It's really good. Um, what else do you want to talk about with this scene? Is there anything else I can help you with?
I was trying to make sure I did enough, but not too much. I'm doing so much in the scene
No, I think it's
because
a
I'm trying to
perfect
ever.
amount.
Okay, because I'm dealing with her illness and dealing with the secret from her family and dealing, and so the setup here at the end, whether or not you know it's a setup, this whole
Yeah.
cherry blossom thing, that's a setup.
Okay.
This,
Nice.
this becomes a big thing in the
Okay.
story. Okay. Because I've managed to find a way to make flowers be a big thing in all of my books.
Oh, that's great. That's nice. Do you put flowers on the covers?
Yes.
Nice.
I don't my
That's
book cover
awesome.
does. My
Yeah,
designer does, but yeah, she does a great
that's great.
job with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think you set it up really, really well. It's a huge payoff here. And
Okay.
it's the cutting of the cherry blossom and him giving it to her is clearly a super special thing. Her emotionality is great. Like Lynn swallowed down the lump in her throat as she took the pot from him and bowed to him. Lets us know, like, hey, this is coming back. Like this isn't just a small
Okay.
moment. I think you do a really great. I think both scenes are really beautifully done, and um, I think if you could pull the emotional journey out a little more, I think it's really going to be an exciting. Even though it's not an action scene where like big things are
Mm,
happening, I think it's going to be really exciting for the reader because the emotions are big, and
okay.
that's what's important.
Because so some of these things I feel like I need to research more. I mean, I am clearly not Japanese,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I wanted to really honor her tradition. I really want to
Hmm.
honor her culture. Um,
Yeah.
but she's an American
Hmm.
also, so I want this balance between I have family who really honors their Japanese heritage.
Hmm.
I'm pulled a bit into the American system of commerce and whatnot. But yet how to have that right balance between history and future
Yeah.
facing, and do people know about this aspect of history, even not dumping info, but making it be clear this actually happened.
Hmm.
This is not
Yeah, yeah.
it's a novel, but it's that actually happened.
Yeah, I would recommend when you're done with your draft, I would recommend a sensitivity reader. Whenever we write another culture, it's always good to find someone who's lived that culture that can read it for us. So, I've done that. I've had several African American characters and got sensitivity readers to make sure, like, hey, I'm doing justice to this character's experience in the world and
Mhm.
what they feel. Um, I think it's a good, and I found I had this scene at the beginning of my detective novels where my African American female detective, wakes up in the morning, and I kind of had it as a repeated scene in every novel. And I got I had a ton of African American female friends who are her age, and had them all read those scenes for me. And they all said the same thing. They were like, "You're not talking about her hair at all." And I was like, well, yeah, no, I'm a white dude with a really short haircut. I don't even think about my hair when I put on a hat most of the time. And they're like, no, no, Jeff, this is a big, if you want her experience to be real, this is a big deal. It's something I never would have known if I hadn't found people who
Mhm.
lived a similar life to my character to actually speak to what I was writing. And it became a fun part of the novel where I had to go do a ton of research. I had to learn about who she was, but not something I would have picked up on my own if I hadn't
Mhm.
had somebody read it for me. Um, yeah. All right. Well, Beth, is there anything else you want to talk about with this?
I think that was a lot.
Okay.
No, I don't think we need to everything
Great.
else. You helped a lot.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to hit stop on the recording and I can talk a little bit more.
Okay.